smaller guy. So if, you put him on a suite with Falele, just have him hop on Falele's back. And then they'll be like, oh, where's the running back? And he'll be like attached to him like a backpack. And Falele could just take off, dude. He could just go. Is there a rule against that? Can NFL play? That's hilarious.
I don't know.
And they'd be like, and they'd realize, and they're like, fuck, now we got to tackle Falele. We thought we were tackling a dude that was 200, 100, what is he? 194 pounds. Instead, we got to tackle a guy that's like 385. That would be hilarious. Hello, everybody. It is May 2nd, 2022. We are a few days removed from the 2022 NFL draft. And I gotta say, Chad, if the draft was like the Super Bowl, we'd win it every single year. We are the Flock Squawk podcast, where we break down everything Baltimore Ravens. I'm joined by my co-host, Chad. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. Doing all right. How's everybody doing out there? Had a great, great draft weekend. The draft falls on my birthday every year, and it's the best birthday gift you can get, watching football draft on your birthday. And and most of the times the Ravens kill it, so that's always nice.
It's on your birthday every single year.
Roughly. My birthday's the 28th, so it like every other year it falls on my birthday, and sometimes it starts on the 29th, but it's always the same week of my birthday, within a couple of days. Well,
you got plenty of presents in the draft, dude. I mean, everyone's saying that we crushed it, and I have I don't know about that. I got a couple complaints with some picks, but we'll get deeper into those. My name is Ben. I'm the other half, you could say, of the coin here at Flock Squawk, and it's just been. Let's just get started, man. I'm so excited. So the first round. I'm gonna have a lot of conspiracies here, Chad. So bear with me through this, because this was the Eagles were kind of the villains of the draft, weren't they?
Yeah, man. It seemed like they had a little birdie in our draft room. I think they jumped in front of us twice, or at least two times in the draft to pick somebody.
So here's my conspiracy on this. I think when the Eagles moved up, I think they gave the Ravens a call. Because remember, Jordan Davis visited the facility during the week. So it was kind of a signal to other teams like, hey, the Ravens are interested in him, right? The Eagles have a problem on their defensive line. It's kind of old. So they're looking to like revitalize it a little bit. And Jordan Davis is the perfect way to do that. I think they gave the Ravens a call and they said, hey, listen, we're going to take Jordan Davis and we're going to trade ahead of you. But at the same time, like if the Ravens were feeling bad about that, I think the Eagles were like, do you love him more than you like Kyle Hamilton? Kyle Hamilton is falling to you in the draft. He was supposed to be in the top 10 picks, and we got him in 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the answer for the Ravens is, all right, well, if you take Jordan Davis, then no problem there. We got a blue chipper still on our board, and we're going to go grab this kid, right? Like, he is a stud, dude. He was the best safety in the draft. What do you think? Like, I just feel like he could be moved around all over the field. He does so many things well. Like, what did you think of this move? And do you think that there's any credibility to that conspiracy theory of mine? Because I'm sure the Eagles gave the Ravens a call and let them know, right? Just professional.
Why? I think you think the NFL is all buddy. Why would another team call another team outside of wanting a trade?
Because I think. Well, first off, the pick did screw us, right? Like, if they had selected Jordan Davis at that spot, the Ravens, I think we all could have said, yeah, I mean, we absolutely have a need for it. And then if you look at the draft, I mean, they didn't pick up another D tackle until the third round?
Yeah, but he was.
I mean, if he was available there, I think the Ravens would have took him.
There's
maybe there is. I don't know what goes on in a war room, but I imagine you also receive calls from teams that let them know ahead of time, like, hey, we're trading up. If that screws up anything on your board, tough shit. You know what I mean?
Dude, I can't imagine that those type of calls happen. Why would anybody give anybody a heads up? It's a dog eat dog out out there. Benjamin?
Yeah, but it came so late, right? Like, it's not like the Ravens, once they decided to trade up, it's not like the Ravens could make any other moves. I mean, it was the very next pick, right? And it's like, maybe the Ravens called them and was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, you're taking our guy or whatever. Because it was so close, if this was like, if they took Jordan Davis, let's say they took him at 12, let's say the Eagles traded up and did that, they wouldn't need to give it so far back on the board, they wouldn't give a shit. But we know that what teams do affects other draft boards. Maybe the Ravens called them. I don't know. It's a conspiracy that I have. I'm speculating here. But I think the player that they got in exchange is just a stud. He's the best safety in this draft. So what do you think of the player? Like, do you like this move? Is it something you thought we should address with the first pick?
Hey, man, it goes to what the Ravens do. We pick the best player available, and Kyle Hamilton was obviously the best player available at 14. If Jordan Davis was there, I could have seen them going for Jordan Davis, and I wanted them to get Jordan Davis, but Kyle Hamilton was the number one player on a lot of people's draft grades. Specifically the NFL Network's draft grades. Kyle Hamilton was the number one player in the draft, and to get somebody like that at 14, I mean, you can't complain with that. Even though safety wasn't a need for us, the Ravens do that. They do best player available, and that's why we get such good value and why we get talent like that. I mean, someone's going to pick at 13 no matter what, whether the Eagles traded up, whether who was it in front of us? Houston kept it. I think it was Houston that was in front of us. So teams don't call people ahead of time and say, "Hey man, I'm taking this player. Sorry about it." That's not how it works. They just, Ravens were sitting at 14. Someone jumped ahead of them. Doesn't matter to them. Someone's going to pick ahead of them anyway at 13, whether was Houston or Philly. And that you just, you roll with the punches. That happens all the time. Someone snipes a player you're potentially getting. You just move. I mean, there's more players available. I mean, that's why you have you have your draft board set up the way you like it. You have, your top player down to your whatever 50th player, and you just take them off as you go. But yeah, Jordan Davis would have been awesome, but I'm happy with Kyle Hamilton big time. I mean, we got one of the number one players at pick 14, which is incredible. What is he? He's a 6'4" safety, which is gigantic. I mean, his 40 was slower than people were expecting. That's why maybe he dropped a little bit. But hey, I mean, watch his tape. That one interception he had against I don't know if it was Clemson or not, but he ran across probably 2/3 of the field to get that pick, diving and going out of bounds. Like, so he has the range, he has the skill, he can tackle, he can cover big tight ends. He's versatile. He can play. It seems like he can play box safety, free range safety. He can even potentially go down and be like a hybrid linebacker role. It just gives our new defensive coordinator a lot of versatility, especially because, we still have the new guy Williams that we got from the Saints. We got Chuck Clark, still a good player. We still got, Tony Jefferson, Geno Stone. I mean, our safety depth is huge now with this pick. So, hey, take best player. That's how I'm cool with that. Take the best player that's available. You don't necessarily go for need all the time, because then you reach for players.
So do you think he starts over Chuck Clark?
Yeah.
Chuck Clark might be out of there.
He's a starting caliber safety. Who's to say that we wouldn't have, packages where all three of them are on the field? I don't know. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it, is that you have three starting caliber safeties that can all play together potentially. Maybe we could, with our safety depth now, maybe we can trade one of our guys for a draft pick or maybe a wide receiver, because I feel like that's still potentially a need. But I would be surprised if they are just like, Chuck Clark's gone. I think keeping all three of them would be, for the best for us.
I agree with you. And the reason is because I think with more DBs on the field, you can cover your Jamar Chases of the world that you're going to have to see 2 times a year. Like it's best to have all these defensive backs. They can load up with extra guys. I mean, Kyle Hamilton, you could play him anywhere. He could play corner. You know, he could. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying that if something were to happen in our roster, I just have like PTSD now that we have another season like we did last year. I don't know. I like having more DBs on the field. I really love this pick. I give it probably a B+ or an A-. I haven't decided yet because, you know, could we have taken a wide receiver there at 14 and given Lamar Jackson a weapon if we knew that Marquise Brown was leaving? I don't know, but I love Kyle Hamilton. I love his tape. He's going to be a day one starter. ESPN had him projected as a potential rookie of the year candidate.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, smokes. So obviously that was awesome.
Yeah, it was the best pick we could have took at that point, in my opinion. What receivers were available at that point? Well, and especially, I mean, we didn't realize, they knew it, but we didn't know Hollywood was out the building at that point. So we weren't even thinking wide receiver at that point.
Yeah, true.
But the top guys were gone by 14, weren't they?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's like there was a run on wide receivers. Everybody
traded up. Got Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams. We're all pick ahead of him. I mean, the next guy was Jahan Dotson, and then got Treylon Books. So I rather, you take Kyle Hamilton over those 2 guys.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. You take Kyle Hamilton over them. I don't think they expected him to fall that far.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, this guy's a stud, dude. He turns the ball over a lot. The interception that you're talking about, absolutely. When I saw him hustle over there to grab that, imagine being a receiver on that play. I'd be like, where the fuck did this guy come from? Like, he just flew out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, incredible value pick. I think you can't go much wrong. Do you give it a grade? What grade would you give it?
Yeah, I'd give it an A.
Give it an A.
You got potentially the best or you can say top 5 talent in the draft at the 14th pick. That's awesome.
By the way, at safety at that position, we have like the strongest first names. We got fucking Chuck, Kyle, Gino, and Tony on our defense. You hear a strong safety depth like that, you're like, damn, that's a fucking tough squad, dude. If you have a Chuck in your friend group, he's probably wild. He refuses to be called Charles or Charlie. He wants to be known as Chuck. He's a good time. Let's talk about the Hollywood trade, because that was sort of the genesis of this next pick. I don't know how to feel about this because we didn't pick up a wide receiver. But let me just say something, Chad. I dug into this a little bit. The Ravens are terrible at drafting wide receivers. Okay, they don't have a good track record. We'll just say that. We have picked up some gems in the past. We talked about it before on the pod, but they don't end up being lifelong Ravens, a lot of them. So what I found out was everyone sucks at evaluating wide receivers. Antonio Brown went in the 6th round. Sammy Watkins was the number 4 overall pick. I think it's just hard to evaluate these guys when they're coming out of college. And I think they're all kind of the same. I think they're all studs. You just have to be like an uber athlete to be a wide receiver. There's a certain build and a certain look. Yeah, okay. But a lot of those guys have it. And it's such a ball-dependent position, like what Green Bay did. They took Christian Watson in the 3rd round? And all of the pundits were saying, like, yeah, that's a great pick. That's a great value pick. He's going to be good on that team. I just feel like it's hit and miss with wide receivers in the draft for a lot of teams, not just the Ravens.
I don't disagree with you, but I mean, there's a lot of wide receivers that do get picked in the right spot and turn out good.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just think it's such a weird position to evaluate. And maybe the Ravens, maybe when they traded Hollywood Brown, first off, he wanted to be traded, right? So Lamar was retweeting, fans saying what the fuck? We just traded Hollywood Brown. He posted WTF in a very unfortunate time. It was right after Tyler Linderbaum got picked, the guy we're about to talk about.
Yep.
And I don't think Lamar meant that. I think he was responding to the Hollywood Brown news. I don't think it had anything to do with Tyler Linderbaum. I don't think Lamar's that kind of guy.
Yeah, I think he was hoping for a wide receiver, but potentially.
And he ended up losing his buddy.
Yeah, and he lost. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he was upset. Even though Hollywood and the Ravens, DeCosta say that they told Lamar ahead of time, so he shouldn't have been surprised. He talked to Lamar twice. One time after his second season, and then he said last season after he got hurt, after Lamar was hurt, he went up to Lamar. He's like, "I'm not happy here. I'm not happy in this system." DeCosta says that him and John talked to Lamar prior to the draft that they traded, that Marquise is looking to go somewhere else. So, yeah, I guess maybe he didn't think it was like a set in stone thing. I don't know. But, I mean, he definitely seems surprised based on his social media comments. So
I think it's going to get real loud in Baltimore if this year doesn't go well offensively for Greg Roman.
Hey, man, I don't know. I mean, we got rid of our best wide receiver from the last couple of years. But what we did, and I mean, it was his choice. I mean, obviously we wanted to keep him. He wanted to leave. So, I mean, DeCosta was nice enough and the organization was nice enough. I mean, they cared about him enough to, look for a trade partner and find some value. And they were willing to do that. And from Arizona's point of view, trying to make Kyler Murray happy, reuniting him with one of his best buds from college, with all of those, weird things going on with, Kyler Murray deleting all his Arizona stuff and asking for money and all that kind of stuff. It seems like they wanted to prove to him that they're committed to him. And so it seems like Kyler Murray is going to be staying in Arizona at this point, obviously now, since they pulled off that trade. First of all, yeah, we weren't the initiators of that, but we got good value back for that. And then we, bolstered one of our, positions that we do need, which is O-line. We got the best center in the draft. A lot of people regarding him as like a 10-year all-pro type of player at center. He's a little undersized, but you see his highlights. Man has heart. Just like, I mean, there's another first round pick that people said was undersized and the Ravens shouldn't have drafted. His name is Ray Lewis, and he's a 2-time Super Bowl champ, Hall of Famer. So get out of here with that. Miss me with those undersized comments. The Ravens picked him up at great value. They traded back and got a pick back that they gave away for Hollywood Brown. Granted, it was in the 4th versus the 3rd, but they even traded back 2 spots and still got the top center and addressed a huge need on our offensive line. Our O-line is way better than it was last year and potentially the year before.
We got great value out of it. He was basically our 2019 25th pick, I believe. He was the exact same number. Roughly,
yep. Mm-hmm.
With Greg Roman and his scheme, I think it was Greg Roman that he was talking about in particular. He said that schematically it just wasn't going to work for him. And I think he has a point.
Yeah, we're a run-first offense, and he wants to put up those big numbers receiving.
And when they do throw,
it is what it is.
When they do throw, Marquise Brown is a guy that, like, you want to send him downfield, on a vert and get the ball ahead of him, and he'll give you the catch. And I don't think Greg Roman, even with the patent, you're right, it's a run-first offense, but even some of the passing schemes, like, I just don't think he was happy with dinking and dunking down the field. He might have a point there, but, like, it's just, I think it's going to get real loud in Baltimore if we have another offensive stinker of the year, because let's say Lamar doesn't get his contract done within the next few months, which he probably not going to. That stuff matters. You know what I mean? Like, he is going to look, if they have a bad offensive year this year, he's going to be like, okay, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Do I need to move on? Can I find an offense? I don't think he's going to find another team that wants to take him because they passed on him a few years ago. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. There's already been noise for Greg Roman's job, even in the past couple of years.
Hey, Lamar had an MVP season under Greg Roman.
True.
The best quarterback of that year.
Mm-hmm.
What he had, 36 passing touchdowns,
6 interceptions.
6 interceptions, 1,000 yards rushing, a bunch of rushing touchdowns. He has already peaked. Not peaked. Not in the sense that he will never get back there, but he has hit the pinnacle at the position already in this offense. So saying that we need to fire the offensive coordinator, we've been hearing it for the last couple of years. I don't get it. Like, our offense is potent. Though I guess the issue is once we got into the postseason, and we got back behind, and we had to, get away from the rushing. Yeah, we saw a little hiccups there, but you saw last year how much Lamar has progressed as a passer. He was killing it before he got injured and before we lost most of our offense for, we had already missed a lot of our offense, but from injuries. But I don't know, man. He's already had an MVP season in this offense. We evolved, I'd say. And Lamar had a great passing year last year. So I don't see how those two, his MVP season and last year can't merge to like the perfect balance of pass and run. Because, he's proven that he can come back. He had multiple comebacks from behind last year. So I'm not a part of the get rid of Greg Roman camp at the moment, but I can understand Hollywood's position. He probably, the focus is to, put Lamar in the best position. He's our quarterback. It's not this offense we run isn't necessarily optimal for a wide receiver. Hollywood, I would not be surprised if Hollywood puts up 1,500 yards next year in that Arizona air raid offense. He has the potential to do that. He has the skills to do that. And he knows that. And he's like this. He's thinking long-term career decision, he saw this money that these wide receivers are making. And he doesn't see the opportunity to get those type of, stats, to get those type of numbers on his contract in this offense. So, more power to him. I understand it. And he got what he wanted, which is cool. He did it the right way. He went to the front office and just asked them. And Eric DaCosta and the Ravens organization is an awesome organization, and they got it done. One report I heard is that the only way that the DaCosta would go through with the trade is if everybody kept their mouth shut.
Right.
And it turned out, Hollywood. I saw an interview with Ian Rappaport the next day, and he was like, no one knew anything about that trade. There wasn't a peep about it. You saw how surprised, we watched the draft together. How surprised were we when we picked Kyle Hamilton and then a second first round pick popped up? We're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how'd that happen? And they didn't report it until, 5 minutes later that Hollywood got traded. And me and Brad were freaking out, and you were just like, that was pretty funny. But
and I was sitting there, I was like, did we trade Hollywood Brown? Because I've been talking so much shit about him. Yeah. It was just one of those things where I was like, there's no way that me and the organization are on the same page here. And it turns out we weren't, right? Yeah. I think they wanted him to stay. EDC was really upset. It seems like he had to really, it's a first round draft pick. It was his first, I think, pick ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's probably pretty emotional about it. I can understand that. But yeah, he's gone now. And now Devin Duvernay and James Prochet get a chance to step up. I like Devin Duvernay. He made the Pro Bowl this year on special teams. I know that has nothing to do with being a wide receiver, but I think he can ball. And I think James Prochet can ball. He's got sticky hands. He goes up for 50-50s. Let's see how it goes. And if Rashad Bateman is healthy, and there's a guy on this draft that I really like, and that's another conspiracy theory I'll talk about when we get there. But we'll see how it goes. I think we can make the best out of a rough wide receiver situation. Yeah. And let's talk about Tyler Linderbaum.
Jump into it. Yeah.
When we were watching this together, I fucking exploded when I saw that we got this guy. I have been dropping hints on this podcast. I've been talking about this dude. He's a once in a decade center. And we got him with an extra first round pick that we didn't have when the draft started. Mm-hmm. And he is exactly what this offensive line needs. He's one of the best center prospects this decade. You were talking about him being undersized and you not giving a shit about it. I definitely don't give a shit because this guy is a state championship wrestler from Iowa.
He understands leverage. He knows what he's doing.
His hand movement is incredible. I was watching his tape. Chad, like this guy, he can literally block on the same play. He can go and block one D tackle and then swing over and help the other guard and block the other one on the same play. So he's got natural instincts as a center. AJ Hawk on the Pat McAfee show, he said, if you've got a wrestler at center, that's nothing but a good thing. That's a good thing. He's like that because they know what you were talking about. They understand leverage. They understand he can get to the next level. He's quick off the line. Like, dude, and center for the Ravens has been kind of annoying the past couple of years, whether it was high snaps, whether I wasn't looking forward to Makari playing center. I'll be honest with you, man. I was like, I think they need to pick this guy up. Nothing against Patrick Makari. I just prefer him at guard. Yeah. And now we got a guy, he's going to make multiple Pro Bowls. And he's the best center in this draft class. So we got the best safety and the best center to start. Am I missing anything here? This is a slam dunk pick.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. So we traded. We got the 23rd pick from Arizona. I was like, well, shit, we might as well. I guess we should get a wide receiver to replace Hollywood. But at that point, all the good wide receivers are gone. Treylon Burks, who I would have won it in that position if he was there, was already picked by Tennessee at 18 with another Brown trade. Tennessee trading what's his name?
AJ Brown
to Phil. That's another huge trade. I guess if Debo had a last name Brown, he would have got traded like he wanted to on Thursday, but it was only the Brown wide receivers that were getting traded. So that was another huge thing. So by the time we were picking at 23, the top 6 guys at wide receiver were gone. It would have been a reach at that point. So DaCosta does his thing. He trades with the Bills. He moves back 2 positions and still lands the best center in the draft. The first pick at 14 was more of a luxury pick. You picked the best available, and safety wasn't necessarily something that we needed, but you can't miss on a guy like that. You can't pass up drafting somebody like that at Kyle. And then at 25, we took a center, which was a need, and we got the best center. So, I mean, like I said earlier, we made the best of the situation of Hollywood wanting to leave. So I was very happy about our first round, like extremely happy.
Here's a fun fact about Tyler Linderbaum. He allowed 2 sacks in 1,201 snaps.
Wow.
He's allowed 2 sacks.
That's awesome. I was just saying, he comes from Iowa. You know who else we got from Iowa?
Marshall
Yanda. Marshall Yanda. Yeah. Another Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. I think he was a 3rd round pick in his draft. So Iowa spits out offensive linemen like I spit out watermelon seeds.
I thought you were going to say chewing tobacco.
Chewing tobacco. I was trying to think of something. I don't even eat watermelon that much. I don't really spit anything out, I guess.
I'm with you on that. This is a great pick. There's not much more I could say about this. Like, this is just a slam dunk.
We crushed the first round.
Yeah. So let's go on to David Ajabo. So we're in the 2nd round now. This pick is really interesting. He was projected as Mel Kiper's number 1 outside linebacker. So we got the number 1 guy in 3 positions to start the draft. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. He tore his Achilles on his pro day. He had 1 full season in college, 11 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, playing alongside Aiden Hutchinson. That guy's a stud. He went with the number 2 pick. So it's a value pick for now. He's probably, they say that he's going to come back in October. Do you believe that? Or do you think they're just going to shut him down for a year and he just watches how the defense operates and then comes back for the 2023 season? Does that sound like something that would happen?
Yeah. It's hard to say. It all depends on how fast he recovers or not. I mean, if he's healthy and he's cleared, the Ravens are going to want to play him. Hopefully we're in, playoff contention when he becomes available and we need that extra guy. So we would obviously use him if we needed to, but do I think he can get recovered. I mean, we saw what Cam Akers did last year. Cam Akers, tore his Achilles early in training camp, and he was ready for the playoffs, and he was absolutely explosive in the playoffs and helped them win a Super Bowl. So it can be done. I remember I don't know which year it was, but Terrell Suggs tore his Achilles in March, I believe, that year, and he was back playing for us in early October. I think it was like week 5. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So that was a 6.5, month recovery. So he tore his Achilles in March, around the same time that Terrell Suggs did it. He's a lot younger than Terrell Suggs was at that time, and we're 10 years advanced in recovery efforts. So it can be done. I think he'll be fine. And he's young, so hopefully he bounced back. Steve Smith bounced back from an Achilles tear. So Ben Watson bounced back from a Achilles tear. So I believe that they are very optimistic that he'll come back, because they spent a 2nd round pick for him, and like you said, it's a value pick. He dropped. He was only available in the 2nd round because he got injured so close to the draft. He would have been a top 15 pick for sure. Hey, we probably would have drafted him at 14. So the fact that we got him at number 13 in the 2nd round is awesome. We just have to wait. Maybe he might miss like 7 or 8 games potentially. So it is what it is. And I think it's a great value pick, especially since he's so explosive, and, he played high school with Oweh apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a connection there. And then obviously, the Jim and John Harbaugh connection. So Jim was his, coach at Michigan. And then obviously Mike McDonald coming from Michigan back to the Ravens, and now is our defensive coordinator. So he's coming back and playing for his coach from Michigan. So a lot of connections. It made a lot of sense. I personally was hoping to get Arnold Ebikte from Penn State, Oweh's teammate last year, but he went to the Atlanta Falcons like 5 picks earlier. So David Ajobe was my next thought, and it turns out to be what it was. So I was excited about it. But we still need to address, I believe, pass rush in free agency, and we just got to hope someone gets cut during training camp or something, because we can't wait till October to have him. Especially with what's his face, Bowser, coming off an Achilles tear also. So we just have Oweh right now. Dylan Hayes, our rookie, like our 3rd round pick last year, is coming back from an injury. So we have 3 guys coming back from an injury. So we need to address an edge defender, pass rush guy. Maybe we bring Houston back. That'll be nice to bring Houston back or something like that. Some kind of vet. There's always guys that get cut after the draft, and there's always guys that get cut during training camp. So we just got to wait and see.
Well, also this afternoon, if trades are done, I don't think it counts against their compensatory picks. So we might start seeing guys go this week. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Let's see. So I guess it's interesting that you talked about the Achilles stuff. You remember when Derrick Rose tore his Achilles and it was like a death sentence for him? Like, now technology's advanced so far ahead. I feel like Achilles tears, while being a big deal and you're going to be out for a while, I feel like the turnover rate for that is much better than it used to be, even just like 10 years ago. I really think that. So I think that's a good point. He's really great against the run. I was watching his tape. He sets an edge. Like, he's really good at it. And obviously this kid's a stud, because his defensive coordinator, like you said, was from Michigan. And even when he was injured, Mike McDonald was like, yeah, I want to pick this guy up. He's a stud. And I know how to use him. So I gave it a B+ only because he was injured. That was it. That's the only reason why. But then again, if he wasn't injured, he wouldn't be a Raven, right? He would have gone way earlier in the draft. So I don't know, I'll bump that up to an A-. He has more production than Trayvon Walker did in college. David Ajabo in round 2, pick 45, had more production than Trayvon Walker did in his college career. Keep that in mind. That's a good value future pick. I love it. I think it's great. And I like the kid too. Did you see him break down? He was crying when the Ravens called him.
He
expected to go in the second round even.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he was just, ecstatic to, obviously he had a very unfortunate timing of an injury. I'm sure he knew that he would have been a top 15 pick, top of the first round. And the minute he fell to the ground, he's probably like, there it goes. Yeah, I'm not going to be a first rounder anymore. So I'm sure getting picked then to the Ravens, knowing his buddy Owe was there, knowing that his old coach was there, knowing the history of the defense there. And, I'm sure he was just, very thankful. He got very emotional. So that was cool to see. And it's just another, all three of these first guys, I listened to interviews about them. They just seem like, people say that's just a Ravens pick. That's a Ravens player. He plays like a Raven.
The only flaw David Ajabo has that I notice on tape, he's not very good at hand fighting. Like a lot of when he gets to the quarterback, he moves around them a lot, and he doesn't really, he doesn't hand fight very well. So that was actually a good demonstration there, Chad. You got some moves. You could be a hand fighting machine over there. I don't know. That's the only flaw, and it's such a tiny one. This was obviously a good pickup as well. He was the best outside linebacker that Mel Kiper had on his draft board. So David Ajabo, welcome to the Ravens, man. All right, let's move on to the third round, where we did the most Ravens thing ever, and we picked up a D tackle.
Yep.
We talked about grabbing a potential Brandon Williams replacement. Travis Jones, 6'4", 325 pounds, runs a sub 540. Love that in a big guy. He really, his draft stock really went up after the pro day. He had an awesome pro day, apparently.
Okay.
He had an awesome, he was invited to the Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowl, yep.
Yeah, that's he had an awesome, I'm sorry about that. I got the two mixed up. He had an awesome Senior Bowl performance, and I think the Ravens got enamored with that. In fact, a lot of guys who were doing mock drafts were like, yeah, I think maybe he could go even higher. He's from UConn, which is interesting because Mel Kiper said he would be a top 20 pick if he played at a Power 5 school. So it seems like this is another example of we got great value for a guy. I guess the big flaw with him that I noticed on film, the one thing that he doesn't close very well, right? Like if he's one-on-one, he will throw a motherfucker to the ground, right? He is dominant up there. He can move offensive linemen for sure. There is no question about that. My thing is, if you're playing a quarterback that's got a quick release, Travis Jones doesn't close as well as I would like him to. But that could be, I don't know. I like the person, right? I like the kid. He made a conscious effort to keep his weight down at UConn. Apparently he lost 30 pounds when he started going to UConn. And he sort of played into shape. And this is a typical Ravens pick. We picked up Brandon Williams in the third round. Justin Madubuike was in the third round. This just seems to be where we find value. What do you think of this pick? Interesting that Mel Kiper said he could have gone in the top 20 if he just played at a bigger school. I like that. I like when he says stuff like that.
I think Daniel Jeremiah had him ranked as his 36th player. So borderline first round pick, and we got him in the third round. So yeah, like you said, another value pick here. We would have liked to have Davis in the first round at defensive tackle, but we probably got someone who's just as good potentially. Smaller guy, but maybe works out more in the long run with being able to be more athletic and a better pass rusher, because a knock on Jordan Davis was that he wasn't a great pass rusher. He was more of a guy that stuffs the run and, takes on a couple guys to block. So, we wait, we take Kyle Hamilton. Well, we take Kyle Hamilton instead, which was a better pick anyway. He was a better prospect for his position. And then we ended up with, a first round talent defensive tackle anyway in the third round. To kind of replace. It seems like Brandon Williams is not going to be re-signing with us at this point now. Between Metabikwe and Michael Pierce, that three tandem D tackle thing is going to be pretty powerful to have, them in rotation and keeping everybody fresh. So I think it was a hell of a pick, another value pick. And I'm excited to see how he helps with our pass rush specifically, because we need a pass rush. The first highlight they showed was him pretty much pancaking the New England Patriots first round center pick at the
range.
Yeah, Chattanooga. What was it? Chattanooga. A lot of people were giving
Chattanooga. Oh gosh, I can't remember. There was like a thing at the end of that.
Yeah. So that's the first highlight we saw on the broadcast was him pancaking New England's first round pick. So that was pretty funny to see. Hey, I'm not gonna question Belichick. I mean, yeah, he's gotten a couple offensive linemen in the first round that other people are kind of like scoffed at, and it turned out to be fine. So, but it is nice to see that, him taking down a first round talent like that. So yeah, another great pick. I'm excited about it.
Hey, this was Bill Belichick. Okay, cool. Do you believe in the Patriot way, son? All right. Well, you're going in the first round. Congratulations. Yep. Like, I don't know why everyone didn't have him going there. What a bizarre pick. But Travis Jones put him on his ass. So I really appreciate that. He's awesome on one-on-ones. Like, he really does. I mean, his college, he just throws dudes down. And yeah, with Pearson Madubuike there, Travis Jones can get some snaps in there, help our pass rush out. He doesn't have to play all 3 downs if he doesn't want to, or if the coaching staff doesn't want him to. Yeah, this is a great pick. This is a also very solid pick. I gave it a B+ because we didn't get Jordan Davis, and that bums me out. But I like the potential that Travis Jones has. I really, really do. He's gonna help our pass rush, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, comparing him, I like to look at NFL Network's NFL's prospect rankings. But when I compare, I'm looking at it right now. When you compare the grade they gave Jordan Davis versus Travis Jones, Jordan Davis got a 6.5. For context, the highest graded player this year was 6.8, and that was Kyle Hamilton. Mm-hmm. So Jordan Davis was 6.5. Travis Jones was third rated D tackle on NFL at 6.34. So, and we got him 2 rounds later. So, hell of a value. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. I would have rather had Kyle Hamilton and this guy versus, Jordan Davis. And obviously we wouldn't have found out how the draft would have fell at that point, but I'm happy the way it turned out. So I'm not mad that we didn't get Jordan Davis at this point. Based on, I was mad the first night for a little bit because I was. And mainly, it was just the size thing. Like, I didn't really know too much about. I kind of heard that he wasn't a great pass rusher, but I didn't really care about that because I was like, he's going to take up like two blockers every play, like no matter what. And then obviously Campbell does the same thing. So having 2 big guys like that, and if Wolf comes back, he's a great. I just was kind of like envisioning our D line with Jordan Davis there, but I'm just as happy for the way it turned out now with Travis Jones instead. So I'm pretty happy about it. Like I said,
too. That's a good value pick. Okay. Moving on to my favorite. This is my favorite pick of the entire draft.
Okay.
Round 4 with pick 110. The Baltimore Ravens select Daniel Falele, offensive tackle out of Minnesota. I love this guy. He's 6'8", 384 pounds. He's the heaviest player at the NFL Combine since 2006. Daniel Falele is so large that land predator animals, if they went to attack him, they would think twice.
Yeah.
Because he is the same size as them. He's almost 400 pounds, Chad. And I was watching his tape. Dude, it is the most hilarious tape you will ever see in your entire life. He's going up against some pretty big boys, and he's just flattening them into the ground at right tackle. He is an obstacle. He is humongous. He played Australian rugby, which I love, because if he probably didn't play sevens. It's a little fast for a dude that, weighs 400 pounds, but he was probably in the middle, constantly getting the ball. Rugby is a game of constant movement. It's just like football, but the clock doesn't stop and the play doesn't stop. So what that tells me is he's got endurance for a guy who's 384 pounds. Like, it's a different kind of skill set you have for rugby, but all of those guys who make those transitions have pretty good NFL careers from what I have noticed. Right. So I love that. He played at the IMG Academy, which, if you don't remember, this is the school that absolutely whooped up on Bishop Sycamore. And then there was this big ESPN story about this fake high school called Bishop.
Oh, yeah.
And all these JUCO guys playing against these high schoolers. IMG Academy was the team that they played against. It's like a football factory over there.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of funny. He was roommates with Rashad Bateman in college.
Really?
Yes. This is a slam dunk pick, Chad. And I actually have I have another conspiracy theory. Let's say Ronnie Staley isn't good to go, right? Let's say his injury's still nagging. What if you'd start Morgan Moses at right tackle and then just move Falele over to left tackle? I'm a big Occam's razor guy. Daniel Falele is 400 fucking pounds. No matter what side of the line you put him on, he's going to be a goddamn problem. How do you get around that? And I watch tape, and I know there's a transition from right tackle to left tackle, and that might cause political stuff with Ronnie Staley. But if Ronnie Staley wasn't 100% to go, I would just say, fuck it. Move the 400-pound dude who's 6'8" to left tackle. This is my favorite pick of the draft. I fucking love this guy. Love him. And we got him for good value. He was supposed to go a lot earlier as well. So what do you think about this one? I might be waxing poetic about that. I just fucking love this guy's background. It's great.
No, man, he's a monster. We basically got Orlando Brown replacement. He's even bigger than Orlando Brown. I mean, the tape, you can't run through him. You have to run around him. And with his size, and as he develops as a protector, if he uses his size right, no one is ever going to be able to get around him. Because you can't run through him, and his arms are too long. If you're fast, if you're one of the fastest, I'm sure he'll have trouble with some of the faster guys and some of the more experienced Joey Bosa's, TJ Watt. He's not going to be perfect, but he has the tangibles to develop into somebody that no one can get around potentially with his size and his quickness. So the rugby background is huge. Like you said, shows he has endurance. He's fast. Another player that the Ravens drafted and had a great career here was a rugby player, and that was Haloti Ngata. So that bodes well for us. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. Just adding another, we've revamped our O-line, like I said earlier in the podcast, with, the free agent signing of Morgan Moses, drafting the center, Linderbaum, and then now drafting Falele. There's a fortress in front of Lamar. He's just be able to sit back there and just, pick apart the secondary potentially. So I'm looking forward to it. And, his highlights, they're showing him throwing the ball. They're showing him rushing the ball. He rushed for a touchdown. Yeah. There's no way we're not going to hand off the ball to him. He's 400
pounds. You think you're going to stop that? It says 384 officially.
That's our 2 pound. That's our 2-point play for now on.
Yeah, 100%. Just hand off. Make it too.
Yeah, just hand it off to him. He's a hell of an athlete for his size, which is awesome. So, looking forward to seeing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how big he is because you can't really tell on TV, but once you see him in person at training camp practice or something, it's gonna be crazy.
Well, go
ahead.
Imagine if he starts and then Tyler Linderbaum is our center. We're gonna have a funky looking line. One guy, a little undersized. The other guy, way oversized. Yeah. He is the largest. And like I said, watch his tape, Chad. It is fucking hilarious. Guys who are ripped big guys are just getting like thrown to the ground, and he's just like, and then he just like looks and tries to help out the guard. It is hilarious. This is a great pickup. And you know, if we are now deep at right tackle, it was a concern that we had going into the season, and we have more than addressed it with Morgan Moses, which is a great pickup. And now with this kid, I am so stoked.
And Deron James, we have 3 options, and then even Tyree Phillips. Yeah, I mean our O line is set, man, with depth and with we have potentially 3 starters for our right tackle's position. Hopefully sounds like Ronnie Stanley's gonna be perfectly fine. So the left tackle set. We got Ben Cleveland and Patrick McCarry, multiple backups with Tyree Phillips.
It's a right tackle, and he constantly improved in pass protection. So he only allowed 1 pressure in his last 8 games. His hand placement probably needs work. And they said that he lunges a lot and he loses his balance. And it's like, yeah, no shit. He weighs 400 pounds. If I probably would lunge and lose my balance too, if I was 6'8", how do you take anything seriously? I wouldn't take anything seriously. If I'm 6'8", 384 pounds, my boss is probably shorter than me. You know, like I can reach deep into the trees. I wouldn't take anything seriously. This is a great pickup. I love it. Jalen Armour-Davis, cornerback from Alabama. This is interesting. We lose an Alabama corner and we pick up an Alabama corner. Anthony Averett left to go to the Raiders, and we saw a need there, and we plugged it with Jalen Armour-Davis. This is kind of crazy. He's the 12th player we've selected from Alabama since 1997, which makes sense because Ozzie Newsome played at Alabama. So I get that.
We love our Alabama guys.
Yeah, we do. We're like an Alabama. We believe in the factory that comes out of Tuscaloosa. So he's long and fast, but not very experienced. That's what scouts were saying about him. He only started 1 season. So there are lots of guys who only played 1 season in college and still made an impact. Yeah. The thing that I love about him the most, he turns the ball over. He's got really good hands. Like when I was watching his tape, he had 4 interceptions last year. And granted, like some of the picks that he had were the quarterback fucked up, or there was a miscommunication.
They threw right. Yeah, there's a couple where it threw right to him. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, like
he caught him.
He caught it. He plays defense. You know what I mean? Exactly. So and he converted it. So it's sort of like, okay, I like that. I like that he's got soft hands. He can turn the ball over. He had a couple contested ones too. Like some of those interceptions were pretty hard to get. He can reroute receivers because he's long and he's strong, and he does a good job limiting yards after the catch, which last year, I mean, all you had to do was look at the Bengals game and see what Jamar Chase did. And yeah, it's pretty obvious. Even CJ Uzama, they were able to break away from our tackles, and tackling has been an issue for us the past couple of years. So I like that the Ravens prioritize guys who don't allow yards after the catch, because it's really something that we need on our defense.
Yeah, we won't have that problem with Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams anymore.
No, but if something happens to those guys, if something happens to, in this case, since he'll play corner, if something happens to Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey again.
Yep. No, I get you for sure. Yeah, no, I'm excited. Yeah, quarterback was definitely a need. We need it. A lot of us were kind of projecting we would take a cornerback in the first round, but obviously we just we took the safety instead. So I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that in the 4th round we were going to get at least 2 cornerbacks, and that's how it played out. And it sounds like this guy, like you said, he has little experience because Alabama's a factory. I mean, it's hard to get play time when you have some of the best players in the country on your team. So when he had his shot, he performed well. Like you said, he turned the ball over a couple times last year, and there's a lot of upside with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
And I don't think he's going to be good right away. I think his footwork needs a little work. And I think just the speed of the NFL game, I think he's going to have to adjust to that. He only played 1 season in college. It's not like he had a whole lot of time to adjust to the college game either. I don't know. Guys like Andrew Booth were still available. I think we should have traded up to get him. I really liked his tape. But this is okay. It's a 4th round corner. We mentioned in previous pods that's probably where we were going to take a guy. We got another Alabama dude. If he can turn the ball over, great. We need as many ball hawks on defense as possible with the fucking quarterbacks in our division. Even Kenny Pickett. I don't know. He's a Pittsburgh guy, so maybe he gels in there pretty well. But yeah, this is a good pick. I gave it a B just because I would have preferred Andrew Booth, but I don't think this is a bad pick. I think with time, this could be a really nice addition to our cornerback group. With the 128th pick, we grabbed Charlie Kolar, tight end out of Iowa State. Like, one of the big things that we also struggled with last year was red zone offense. All we had really was Mark Andrews. Everyone else was kind of small, fast, but small. And the only real target out there that Lamar could rely on for jump balls, really, and having a big body down there was Mark Andrews.
Yep.
So if you're looking for a Mark Andrew compliment, I think this is the guy. He's good. He can line up in the slot, out wide. He's 6'6", 252. So he's a big body. He can drop down into zone. He only had 5 drops his whole college career over there at Iowa State. Last year, he had 62 receptions, 756 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So he's efficient. Is he a wide receiver? No, that's what this team needs, right? But at the same time, if you need a guy to sit down in zone, like the way CJ Uzama did with the Bengals on our defense, I think it's a nice pick. I gave it a solid B. It was kind of a sneaky need for the Ravens, right? They needed another compliment to Mark Andrews.
Definitely. Yeah. With Boyle coming back from his knee injury, I mean, he didn't come back as good as we hoped. Maybe he needs another year. Hopefully he's 100% healthy this year, but he's more used in our blocking scheme. And then, Oliver was the tight end we picked up from Jacksonville in the trade. He had a couple good catches, but he was kind of invisible most of the season. So we just need that compliment to Mark Andrews, that, and potentially, when we run, we run a lot of double tight end sets. So having another guy, hopefully he can develop as a blocker that could be versatile. So we have that blocking guy and the catching, because, we need that blocking guy in our running scheme. That's why we paid Boyle what we paid him. And he developed into a better catcher, but he's always been a really good blocker. So this guy seems to be a nice, catching tight end. Dennis Pitta, Ed Dixon. Then we got Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews. Now we got this guy and was it Likely? The other guy?
Likely. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about him. He's interesting. Yep. I like his tape a lot. But for Kolar, I think the big thing for this is when he goes up for 50-50 balls, he usually wins. If you get down into the end zone and he's a big target, if he's up one-on-one with the guy, he could take it and get points on the board, right? He's a compliment to Mark Andrews, which is something that it was like a minor question mark because Mark Andrews is very good and he's extremely productive. But with Hayden Hurst leaving when he did, that was when in 2019 with him and Hayden Hurst, it was just like, oh my, Hayden Hurst, I think, is a good ball player. It sucks that he's back in the division. But yeah, and with Nick Boyle, like you said, since his status is up in the air, we got a guy who can fill in if we need it. The Ravens will teach him how to block. Yeah,
and we lost Tomlinson to
Eric,
to Denver. So yeah, we needed some tight ends. The next pick was a big surprise, though.
I hate this pick. Okay, so in the 4th round with the 130th pick, Jordan Stout, punter out of Penn State. So real quick before we start this, conspiracy time. There was an article that Jamison Hensley just put out this morning, and it talked about in the 4th round, there was a guy, they didn't name who it was, who they tried to call him and they got a hold of his agent. They didn't get a hold of the actual player. And the agent had to fucking hunt down the number for the actual player. The Ravens are on the clock. So the clock is ticking down and they're like, yo, get this guy on the phone so we can tell him that we picked him. I think it was this guy. We picked a punter in the 4th round, so we must have really liked him. I think it's more possible that Jordan Stout wasn't expecting somebody to call him on draft day.
Yeah.
That's the guy. It's got to be, right? The guy who didn't answer his phone because he didn't think he was going to get taken that high.
Potentially, yeah. Yeah, because we were the first team to draft a punter. I mean, I guess this means goodbye, Sam Cook. It's pretty sad. I mean, Sam Cook is a staple. We were just talking last pod about how we had to get rid of Morgan Cox, our long snapper, and we got Chris Moore, who filled in pretty well last year, and we re-signed him. Nick Moore. Sorry, Nick Moore. Yep. And now it seems like back-to-back years we're axing the original Wolf Pack. Justin Tucker is going to be missing his guys, and I mean the biggest thing with Sam Cook is his holding. Sam Cook is one of the best holders in NFL history, and yeah, he's getting a little old. I mean, he's going to be 40 next year, I believe. The Ravens would save $2.1 million in cap space if we cut him. So he's expensive. He's old. His kicking, I mean, he's a great punter. But yeah, a younger guy is going to have a bigger leg than him. This guy, Jordan Stout, is he's versatile. He kicked a 57-yard field goal for Penn State. He has the record for Penn State as a punter for place kicking. So he's versatile. He can maybe take, kickoffs away from Justin Tucker later down the road. If we don't want Justin Tucker wasting his leg on kickoffs, we can use this guy for kickoffs. But yeah, it seems, I mean, if you're drafting a punter in the 4th round, he's going to be on your team. So I imagine Sam Cook's gone. Hopefully, yeah, like I said, the only downside of that is Sam Cook he's been our punter for so long. He's been a Pro Bowl kicker, one of the best. He's like 7 of 8 for fake field goal passes. Punt passes. We'll see. Hopefully he's a good sport, and he teaches our new guy how to be a great holder. And, maybe we use that extra $2 million to get a free agent wide receiver or a pass rusher.
Yeah, that seems to be the way that the Ravens should go, right? $2.1 million in cap space saved, but that fucking sucks, man. I love Sam Cook. Sam Cook is welcome to the barbecue after he retires. He's a great Raven, really. I mean, and special teams doesn't get talked about a whole lot, but any person that you talk to knows that Sam Cook he's been a stud for a very, very long time. And I'm very thankful if he does decide. I hated this pick because I love Sam Cook. We're using another pick for a punter, so that takes away another position we could have gotten off the board. But I think they're going to go. I think they're looking for a veteran wide receiver. I mean, Jarvis Landry's still out there. Will Fuller could be a guy that fills in for that. Debo Samuel's obviously the golden goose there, but like
Odell Beckham's still available.
Odell Beckham coming off his injury. Yeah, I mean, that's an option as well. It sucks. Sam Cook, I'm going to miss him a lot. He made our, obviously Justin Tucker gets a lot of the headlines, but Sam Cook is a stud punter and holder. Yep. Yeah. But he's going to be 40. I mean, I'm sure he's got, other things he wants to do with his life. Good for him.
Someone's going to pick him up. If he wants to play, he'll have the chance to play.
100%.
I mean, he's still one of the best punters in the league and definitely one of the best holders in the league. So
sure.
he'll if he wants to continue his career, it won't be hard for him to find a job.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, I don't know. I gave this a D. I didn't like this pick. I really didn't like the pick. It's okay. I hope Jordan Stout proves me wrong, dude. I'm rooting for him, and he does have some interesting stats. He averaged 46.6 yards per punt, which is a Penn State record. And he placed 27% of his punts inside the 10-yard line, which I think that's pretty good for a punter, I would think. Pretty much like 3 out of 10 times you're gonna get a guy and get an offense inside the 10. I don't hate that. I'm gonna miss Sam Cook. So I don't know. Okay.
I'm not ready. Yeah, I'm not ready to say goodbye.
I'm not either. I think that's but it is what it is. Maybe he does play in the NFL. He continues to play. He definitely could get picked up by a team. He probably should. But he's the 3rd highest punter salary against the cap. So I don't know. It depends on what he asks for money, or if it's a player-friendly deal or a team-friendly deal. I don't know. He could definitely keep playing. So, I guess we'll just see how that goes. It'll be interesting to see that transition in Baltimore because it's been so stable for so long. I love this pick. With the 139th selection, Isaiah Likely, tight end out of Coastal Carolina. Have you watched his film yet?
No, I haven't. But from what I heard, he's one of those guys that could be just like a big ass wide receiver for you.
Dude, his tape is so exciting. He had 59 catches at Coastal Carolina, 912 yards, and 12 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
So this dude is a stud. What I like the most about him, he gets to his spot like really quickly. And so if a quarterback's making an anticipation throw, he can get to that spot. I mean, he's a vertical threat. I saw him catch balls where he's way downfield. He's smooth. He's instinctive. He'll get you a lot of yards after the catch. He's 6'4", 245 pounds. If we can't address wide receiver, if let's just say shit goes south, it's possible that Isaiah Likely, we could see him line up out wide. Yeah. And it would be very interesting to see that. We should, because he's not a very good blocker. He stinks at blocking.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, he's not. If they've got to develop, I think Kolar is probably going to be the guy who's going to be more of the blocking guy, because Isaiah Likely, I love him outside. He could be a wide receiver, dude. He's a weird, like, hybrid player. I don't know if he starts behind the wide receivers that we've got now with Rashad, Duvernay, Prochet, but it'd be interesting to see if they use him in some packages and see what they can do with him. Like, I loved this pick. And also this was another one where we got a lot of really great value for him. Like, he might've gone around earlier and a lot of draft boards had him going around earlier, and we ended up finding him in the 4th round. Yep. I'm really high on this trade. I gave this a B+. His ranking overall, they had him at 104. So like, he could have gone in the 3rd round and we picked him up in the 4th. So it's a value pick. And I think he's a stud. If you haven't picked it yet, watch it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. Yeah. Seems like I'm seeing some of the stuff right now. But yeah, a lot of down the field catches. He seems like he's getting separation. He's fast. He's a red zone threat, like you said. 12 touchdown catches last year. That's pretty good. That's something we need. We need big bodies in the red zone. Maybe he fits more of like a wide receiver in our game. So hey, might work out like that. We'll see. Maybe we did draft our wide receiver.
That's what I'm saying. And
tight end wide receiver hybrid.
That's what I'm like. I actually think that if it might be an insurance policy in case shit can't go the right way with the wide receiver, I think the Ravens can get a guy. But if they don't, Isaiah Likely is very interesting. I like him more than Kolar. And I like Kolar for how we're going to use him in the offense. I just think this is a really interesting pick. I guess the knock on him is he played for Coastal Carolina. But honestly, Coastal Carolina is a college program. The past couple of years, like in the pandemic, they were pretty good. They had like a top 25 ranking. So I don't know, man. I think this might have been a steal in the 4th round. I really, really like this pick. I gave it a B+, and we'll just see how it goes. It'd be interesting to see how Greg Roman uses him in packages. And he almost had 1,000 yards receiving last year.
Yeah.
So take that into consideration.
Take that, yeah.
Pick 141. Marianne Williams, cornerback out of Houston. They doubled up at tight end and they doubled up at corner, which was a position that they needed, to double up on. People are saying he's undersized, has short arms and small hands, not a ball hawk, and he has problems getting off blocks and getting overpowered. That doesn't sound like a great thing for a cornerback. No. But what I've noticed with Houston, they line him up sometimes they line him up as like a nickel linebacker. They'll have him come down, and it usually ends up well because when he defends against the run, it's very instinctual. He's got good instincts when it comes to picking up on the run. And if a guy's in front of him, he can usually make a tackle. So it's kind of interesting how Houston used him. They almost used him as like a nickel linebacker.
I gotcha.
I don't know if that's a system fit for Mike McDonald. I have no idea. But he's a solid tackler. He's good in zone. I don't like him so much in man. I think I was not impressed with his tape when he lined up with man coverage, but he's a 4th round draft pick. So I'm trying not to hark on him too much. He's decent at playing in zone. I gave it a C-.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about him.
Yeah. It seems like it's one of those guys that are undersized, he's getting overlooked from a smaller school, undersized guy. And he might just be like a flyer, like a shot at the dartboard. If it pans out, I'm looking at his tape. His tackling. I mean, he open field tackling skills look, and then running, like he's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to go down and get a running back in the line of scrimmage. So that's probably what sets him apart. That maybe that's why the Ravens, seems like a tough Ravens player. So maybe they think they can, coach up the rest of his weaknesses. So we'll see how it pans out. But and he'll obviously he fits more as a slot cornerback versus an outside cornerback with his size. So maybe he's like the next Tavon Young or something. We'll see. Tavon Young panned out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's not going to start, right? I mean, this is a nice just depth piece that you can add.
Yeah, special teams, and he'll be a great he'll be a great tackler. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so that was the end of the fourth round runoff. Pretty good fourth round, I would say. You got a lot of value picks. It was an awesome stretch.
Yeah, we had a record 6 picks. That's the most picked in a round in NFL history, and we kept all of them. I was surprised. I thought we were going to trade 2 to jump back up in the third potentially, but that's just not how the draft fell to us. So they kept 6 of them and picked at all 6 positions.
And I think all the picks had good value except for the punter, obviously. And then Marianne Williams, I think, was ranked a little bit further back, but not by much. I mean, he was supposed to go around this area. So It's not like it was like a reach to get him or anything like that. But then we had to wait till the 6th round where it wouldn't be a Ravens draft if we didn't pick up a running back, right? So the guy that we got, Tyler Beatty, not Batty. Batty would be electric, but Tyler Beatty, running back out of Missouri. Todd McShay had him projected to go in the 5th round. We picked him up in the 6th. So again, another good value pick. This guy is really interesting. He ran a 4.45 at the combine. Love that.
Yep.
5'8", 194 pounds. He's an aggressive runner. He's real patient. Like, I love how patient he is. He waits, like if he gets a screen pass or something like that, he's got enough good footwork where he can wait and then explode. I mean, when this guy goes and he's in the open field, good luck catching him. He's extremely fast. He was 2nd team AP All-American this year. He had almost 2,000 scrimmage yards at Missouri. He rushed for a little over 1,600 yards, that's a great sign.
Yep.
And he was the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. He's the first Missouri player to have 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in his career. He catches balls out of the backfield. He's fast. He's patient. He's obviously not going to start over J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards if their health is still up in the air. If they're good to go, they're going to be the starters for sure. But I don't know. I think I think he's a good special teams addition. Let's say we want to get Duvernay just as a wide receiver. Maybe Tyler Batty is the solution to that, and we could see him returning punts. They like Duvernay as a punt returner, and they should. Yeah. He made the Pro Bowl this year, and he was awesome. He's the best punt returner in the league, actually. But if they wanted to move him and just have him as a wide receiver, I think this guy is a good option for that. He's not a good blocker. Pass protection is kind of sketchy. So I don't know if that's going to be an issue or not. But with the running back room now, if they add Beatty, who do you think leaves? Like, do you think that they keep all these running backs on the roster? It's a run-first offense, so it would make sense. But I'd imagine maybe they want to move. Would they want to move on from Tyson Williams? Like, I don't know, man. It's an interesting pick. But it's a great value for a running back, I think.
Yeah, he had a total of 18 touchdowns last year, 14 rushing, 4 receiving. Yeah, like you said, 1,600 yards rushing, 300 yards receiving. Yeah, I mean he's going to be competing for a third down scat back type guy.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be competing with Justice Hill, Nate McCurry, and Tyson Williams for that third running back position. And obviously, they're not going to keep all those guys. Maybe Justice Hill's gone.
Didn't McCrary, wasn't he not on the roster for a little bit? Didn't another team like scoop him and then we re-signed him after? Maybe Nate McCrary's the guy.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, he's a 6th round pick, so he's not guaranteed to make the cut. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like this year's running back draft class was pretty deep, and having someone like this in the 6th round available still was pretty cool. It seems like we should have. Well, I agree. We should have drafted a running back, especially we were looking at Melvin Gordon, and he's signed elsewhere. So I felt like we needed to get him. We brought in James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother, for a visit. He got picked early in the 2nd round to the Bills, so he wasn't an option. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it pans out. Another it's hard to tell with these late round selections if they're going to make the team or not. But
when I was watching the draft coverage, they said that a big problem with Tyler Beatty was because he was behind Larry Roundtree for a lot of his career. And Larry Roundtree was a stud over there in Missouri.
Yeah,
he might be. His stats just like jump out, dude. Like he was 2nd in the FBS for scrimmage yards, 1,934 yards from scrimmage.
That's huge.
I mean, dude, he was a workhorse at Missouri, and I just sort of like his burst is awesome. Smaller guy, so if you put him on a sweep with Falele, just have him hop on Falele's back, and then they'll be like, "Oh, where's the running back?" And he'll be like attached to him like a backpack, and Falele could just take off, dude. He could just go. Is there a rule against that? Can NFL play? That's hilarious.
I don't know.
And they'd be like, and they'd realize, and they're like, "Fuck, now we got to tackle Falele. We thought we were tackling a dude that was 200, 100. What is he? 194 pounds. Instead, we got to tackle a guy that's like 385. That would be hilarious. I would love that. It's not going to happen, but he could hide behind Falele for sure. And then if Ronnie Stanley, I mean, he could catch balls out of the backfield. This might be a sneaky good pick. So, like I said, Todd McShay had him going in the 5th round.
Sweet.
And we got him in the 6th. So it's kind of like, all right, well, if he's still there, he's got tons of potential. I don't know, man. I like this pick. I gave it a B.
B for Ben.
B for Ben. Ben's guy. I'm telling you. Oh, and if something goes south with our running back room again this year, we are not going to be scrambling around to try and find some free agent last minute. You know what I mean? We can at least have something, and it's a Ravens draft, so they got to pick a running back somewhere. That's our draft. What do you think, man? If you had to give it like an overall grade, what would you put it at?
Hey, man, obviously I'm biased, but we knocked this thing out of the park. And I think everybody's saying, I mean, I'm hearing it left and right from all the sportscasters. I'll give ourselves an A. Our first 4 picks, our first 5 picks, our 2 first rounders, our 2nd rounder, our 3rd rounder, and our first pick in the 4th round. I mean, we got crazy value for all 5 of those picks. And most of them filled a need that we had, except for the first one, but that's okay. So I think we knocked it out of the park. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I give it an A as well. I mean, there's a lot of people. I think Mel Kiper, God, I've mentioned his name a lot in this podcast. Mel Kiper gave it an A+, along with the New York Jets, who had an absolutely phenomenal draft too. Their Jets draft was redonkulous.
Jets, and I think Philly had a good draft.
They were the villains.
Yeah,
they were the villains in this draft with the Eagles. They got A.J. Brown, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What are the Titans going to? Well, they think Treylon Burks is the fill-in for that. But I texted Taylor, our friend that does the No Interference podcast. I texted him, and I was
Titans fan. Yeah.
Do you want to kill Trevor right now? Like, what are the emotions that you're feeling? His brother's an Eagles fan, and he texted me back, and he was like, "They fleeced us."
Yeah.
I agree. Like I said in the beginning of the pod, wide receivers are hard to evaluate. I would rather do what the Ravens are doing. Go out and get a proven guy. Go out and get a Jarvis Landry, dude. Jarvis Landry and Lamar Jackson together. He's a veteran wide receiver. He's productive as shit.
Yeah.
It's way better than taking a flyer on a dude in the draft. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too bummed out. I think this just means we're going to get a wide receiver in free agency. And I think we'll get a Will Fuller, Jarvis Landry type guy.
Yeah, no, I think we have to. I think we need a wide receiver. We need to bring in a vet for sure. Because
did you hear about DeAndre Hopkins? He just got suspended for 6 games.
For what?
I don't know.
Wow.
Find out.
Well, maybe that's why Arizona made it a priority to get Hollywood.
PEDs.
PEDs. Performance enhancing drugs.
God damn it, D-Hop. What are you doing down there?
You're the best receiver in the game. Why do you need some PEDs?
I wonder if it was because of his injury. He took a steroid because he had an MCL injury. He's coming off of injury, and the Cardinals offense didn't look the same. Wow, that's wild. Looks like Marquise Brown is going to get a lot more catches than he thought. If he's going to be out for games.
Yeah. Marquise Brown is. I mean, D-Hop's gone, and they lost Kirk.
Yeah, they lost Kirk to the Jaguars.
Yeah, so looks like Marquise Brown is going to be the number 1 receiver for 6 weeks.
Oh my God! What if he's electric, Chad? What if they're so good? Oh, that'll piss me off.
Hollywood's a great player. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. He's fast as hell. He's a great player. He's just a little undersized. He's just small, and he's not thick like a Tyreek Hill or anything like that.
I think he's best utilized doing a vert. You throw it over his head, and he goes to get it. And I think our offense just wasn't conducive.
No, I don't agree with that at all. We remember the Minnesota game? We were using him in quick wide receiver screens, and he was getting first downs every time.
Yeah, but I feel like they sniffed that out after a while, don't you think? Like, I feel like he's best when he's fucking, like, think of the Miami game in 2019, right?
Yeah.
That touchdown where Lamar had all that time, and he could throw it all the way open to him. There was a game, I can't remember who it was against, but he dove in the end zone to catch that one ball this year.
Denver, yeah.
That's where I think he's, like, most effective. I think he's most effective.
He's going to get way more opportunities in Arizona's system
to take the top off. But I've talked so much shit about Hollywood Brown over the course of this podcast, and it's kind of a bummer. I don't get to do it anymore.
Yeah, you pushed him away, Ben, is what you did.
Listen, someone in the front office was listening to me. They were like, hey, this bearded fuck right here with the Maryland flag in the background, he knows what he's talking about. We see it too. No, I don't know. But we need to go and get a receiver, get a veteran one, and I think we'll be set to go for the 2022 season. I'm excited. The draft was great. I gave it an A.
Awesome. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Biggest needs right now is wide receiver, and we still need pass rush because the guy we drafted isn't going to be available right away. So we still need we need a vet pass rush, and we need a vet wide receiver, and then we're good to go, in my opinion.
We'll be good to go. I agree 100%. All right, brother. I think it's time to say goodbye to the people. You want to say anything to Flock Squawk before we take off?
Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Comment, let us know what you like about us, what you don't like about us. Hey, if you want to debate us about some stuff, give us some comments. We'll debate. That's what we're here to talk about. We're not claiming we're experts or anything. We like to learn, and let us know what you think about what we say here.
100%. Yeah, we're always responsive to comments. Like I would love to hear what people have to say, like whether they thought we should have picked up one guy over the other. I know a lot of Ravens fans are bummed we didn't get a wide receiver. If we do go get a veteran guy, who would you guys want to see lined up in the purple and black? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you to our new subscriber. We picked another one up. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, sir.
And like Chad said, we are really appreciative of the support that you give us and the views that we get. We really appreciate it. We're new and we're going to make some mistakes, but we're always going to be entertaining. I mean, where else would you get Daniel Falele excitement? Yeah. I mean, where else would you have a team where you've got a 400-pounder on, comment on that stuff. We'd like to hear from you to see if there was any draft picks that you guys wanted us to pick up. Okay. I think that's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and caw, everybody. We'll see you next week for any free agency news we hear. Yeah.
Caw. See you, Ben.
Later, brother.